SA 620. Using the work of an auditor's expert. Who is an auditor's expert? He is a person who has specialized knowledge, skills, and experience in particular field other than accounts and audit. Auditor expert will assist in auditing. Management expert will assist in preparing the financial statements to the entity as per SA 500. Auditing expert. Auditor expert is of two types: internal expert, external expert. Internal expert, who is a partner or staff, including temporary staff of auditors' firms or network firm. For internal expert, SA 220 is applicable. For external expert, external to the firm, SA 620 is applicable. For internal expert, SA 220 is applicable. External expert, SA 620 is applicable. Managerial expert, SA 500 is applicable. Examples of expert in some areas regarding liability: insurance expert, tax, employee benefit expert, environmental liability expert, law expert, contract expert. Regarding assets: fixed assets expert, investments expert. Next, factors affecting nature, timing, extent of audit procedures. First one, significance of experts' work. Example: oil well valuation is 8,000 crores and total assets are 10,000 crores. It accounts for 80% of balance sheet items. Whole work will be done by experts team. Auditor is dependent on experts' work in this significant matter. Second, nature of matter. Valuation depends upon the depth or width or density or viscosity or soil level of the surface, drilling cost, or oil burning. Third one, risk of material misstatements. Example: 400% chance change on 400% change on compared to last year. There is no policy or system on how to value oil well. Fourth one, auditor's knowledge of and experience with the expert. Auditor has worked with expert before. Experts sometimes work in haste and misses some important points. So auditor should be careful in such a situation. Fifth one, quality control policies. If it is a internal auditor's expert, then he is considered as member and quality control policies and procedures is applicable. But if he is an external expert, then he is not a member. Therefore, quality control policies and procedures is not applicable. Then auditor need to be alert and do more evaluation. So these are the factors affecting nature, timing, extent of audit procedures. Hint is SNARK. S, significance of expert work. N, nature of the matter. A, auditor's knowledge of and experience with the expert. R, risk of material misstatements. Q, quality control policies. Next, factors suggest need for different and more extensive procedures. It is mere repetition of above points explaining when to perform more procedures. Significance of experts' work. Experts' work relates to significant matter, and expert is performing procedures integral to audit. Expert is not just a consultant or advisor. If experts' work is significant, then more procedures need to be performed. Next, nature of matter. It involves subjectivity and complex judgment. More procedures will be involved. Risk of material misstatements. Areas having higher risk of material misstatements. More procedure need to be performed. Auditor's knowledge of and experience with the expert. Auditor doesn't have any previous knowledge of expert's competence, capabilities, objectivity, and no prior work experience. In such a case, more procedures need to be performed. If expert is external expert, such expert is not subject to firms quality control policies and procedures. In such a case, more procedures need to be performed. Steps in SA 620. Hint is SNAR, no Q, only SNAR. Step number 1, need for auditor's expert. Following points should be considered for the same. First 4 points, similar to the factors affecting nature, timing, extent of audit procedure, will be the same. That means SNAR, significance of matter, nature of matter, including complexity, risk of material misstatements, and expected nature of procedures to respond those risks. Auditor's knowledge of and experience with the expert. Additional points: whether management has used management expert, availability of alternative source of audit evidence. Examples of activities in which auditor's expert assistance can be taken: These points are arranged in sequence of core audit process for ease in retention. First one, understanding entity and its environment. Second, identifying and assessing the risk of material misstatements. Third, response to risk. Overall response to risk of financial statement level. Further audit procedure at assertion level, including test of controls and substantive procedures. Next, evaluating sufficiency and appropriateness of audit evidence. Factors to be considered: whether to appoint auditors expert when management expert is already appointed. Expert related points: competence and capabilities, whether employed by entity or engaged by it. Management related points: whether management has established controls to evaluate management experts' work. Can management exercise control or influence experts' work to get favorable results? Work related points: nature, scope, and objectives of management experts' work. Whether management expert follow technical performance standards or other professional or industry requirement while performing his work. Step number 2, matters to be considered while selecting auditor's expert. Basic principles. Hint is CCO. C, competence. C, capabilities. O, objectivity. Competence: knowledge, qualifications, training, experience, reputation. Capabilities: time, availability, team, equipment, etc. Objectivity: ability to remain unbiased. Evaluate Evaluation of objectivity shall include inquiry regarding interests and relationships of experts with entity. Important considerations while evaluating CCO: competence, capability, objectivity, whether expert is following any legal or regulatory requirements with respect to work, whether expert have accreditation accreditation from any licensing body, whether expert following professional standards and technical and performance standards. Other matters: whether competence of auditor's expertise is relevant for matter of audit in which experts' work will be used. Example: actuary may be specialist in property and casualties insurance, but audit may have requirement for pension calculation expertise. Next, with respect to accounting and auditing requirement, example: financial reporting framework may require expertise of a particular methods or models or assumptions in which expert may not have enough experience. Next, during the audit, unexpected events. Expert is not able to work as promised. Changes in conditions. Because of change in business, different expertise is required. Audit evidence obtained contradictory to expert's opinion. Evaluation of significant threat to objectivity. Audit procedures: inquire about expert's relationship with the entity. Discuss with expert whether safeguards are applied to reduce threat to an acceptable level. Examples of interest and relationships that create threat to objectivity: financial interest, business relationship, services given by expert to the entity. For above points, auditor may obtain written representation from the experts about interest and relationships. Two types of situations. Situation number one: auditor may identify threats to objectivity, but he thinks safeguards like more supervision, evaluation, and time can reduce threat. Second situation: threat cannot be reduced to acceptable level. Basic work which expert is supposed to evaluate is prepared by expert itself for the entity. This is self-review threat. Next, step number 3: obtaining understanding the field of expert. Sufficient understanding is required in the field of expert before expert starts his work to determine nature, scope, and objective of the work which should be done by the expert as per the agreement. After expert has done his work, to evaluate adequacy of the work done by expert. Activities which can be done to obtain understanding. Such activities can sometimes give so much understanding that auditor may work without expert. First, past experience of the auditor himself of auditing entities which require such expertise. Past experience of other auditor who has performed similar engagement where this expertise is required. Third, obtain understanding from education or professional development of this particular field. This may include formal courses or discussions with the individuals who possess expertise in this field. Step number 4: agreement with auditor's expert. They should agree in writing. First one, objective. What they should agree in writing. First one, objective of the audit. Example, width, depth, quality, valuation. Second, nature of work. Example, analyzing company drilling data of past 2 years. Satellite image evaluation, 10 samples from different spots for lab testing, and drilling 5,000 feet. Third one, scope. Example, only oil wells in Orissa without considering climate change. Fourth one, role and responsibility of the expert. To arrange equipment, to arrange team, to follow time limits. Next, role and responsibility of the auditor. Request management to send drilling data, that is source data, to arrange satellite images, to get permission to access and use oil well from the management. Sixth, communication and reporting. Identify partner or staff that will lies with expert and also fix the procedure which will be used. In case of significant risk, there should be oral communication as well as formal written communication, written report at the conclusion of the work. At the conclusion of the work. Seventh one, confidentiality. Confidentiality procedures as applicable to auditor, same will be applicable to expert also. Examples, status report every 15 days, midterm report after 3 months, final report after 6 months to be sent. Next, factors which may lead to more detailed agreement as compared to normally required. If auditor has not used work of this expert previously, different roles and responsibilities as compared to normal, extent of expert's work is more and it's significant. Expert have access to sensitive and confidential information, multi-jurisdictional legal and regulatory requirement. Work is highly complex. Step number 5, evaluating the adequacy of expert's work. Source data plus assumptions and methods will give findings and conclusions. In case of source data, evaluate completeness, accuracy, and relevance. Procedures, verify origin, test internal control system and transmission, review for completeness and internal consistency. In case of assumptions and methods, evaluate relevance and reasonableness. Factors used for evaluation is compare with generally accepted assumptions in the field, requirement of applicable financial reporting framework, comparison with management assumptions and methods. Is it suitable for specialized models? Case number 1. If experts' work is to evaluate assumptions and methods of management, audit procedures, check or examine the adequacy of renewal of assumptions and methods of management. Case number 2. If expert work is to develop point or range estimate for auditor, audit procedure, evaluate assumptions and methods used by the expert. SA 540 explains how to evaluate assumptions and methods of management. Same principles can be used to evaluate methods and assumptions of the expert. Next, in case of findings and conclusions, evaluate relevance, reasonableness, and consistency with other audit evidence. Specific procedure, similar to methods of collecting evidence in SA 500, observation, inspection, inquiry, recalculation, reperformance, analytical procedures, confirmation, match things with published data, such as statistical reports from reputable and authoritative sources. Inconsistency, if experts' findings is inconsistent with other audit evidence, auditors should discuss it with another expert with relevant expertise. Final discussion. Audit should Auditors should discuss experts' report with management. If work is not adequate, agree with that expert for further procedures or perform further audit procedures. If auditor concludes that work of expert is inadequate and he cannot resolve matter, express modified opinion as per SA 705. Step number 6, a reference to the auditor's expert in audit report. In case of unmodified opinion, no reference will be made unless required by law. If referred, explain no reduction in responsibility of the auditor. Next, in case of modified opinion, refer is to be a reference will be made if it is relevant for the understanding in the basis of opinion paragraph. If referred, explain no reduction in responsibility of the auditor.